Hey, welcome to another update on Archmage Rises. Oh, come on, Nick. It's like you're showing off your boobs or something. What are you doing?
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, man. You are so out of practice on these videos. Okay, so as I was saying, there's another big exciting update on Archmage Rises. So these videos have been going every other week, and I have some really good news about this week. I got a whole lot done, and that's why I'm calling it Kicking Ass with AI.
I'm back, baby!
Because I've just had a pretty good week.
I'm glad to hear about it. I just saw that title 5 minutes ago, and I want to hear more about it. Let's jump right in.
Yeah, so I apologize for last episode, which was 40 minutes long, which was way too long for an update. So I'm going to try and do this one under 10 minutes, maybe even 7 minutes. How does that sound?
I think it sounds impossible.
Okay, well, here we go. So I just want to give a quick update on the health thing. I don't want to really talk about it anymore. So I had another needle to my eye on Monday, and the good news is that my vision was clear for the full 4 weeks between needles. So
Nice.
that was a real blessing. That was really great. Previously, it had worn off in like 10 days. So the fact that I went from 10 days to now 4 weeks, which I guess is 28 days, was really good. And so the doctor's like, yeah, you still have to keep getting these needles. I have to get 6, kind of regardless of how well I do. I have to get 6. But anyways, that's really good. So like all the like health stuff and whatever, just like that's not bothering me anymore. Mainly because I can see. It was really bothering me when I couldn't see. But since I can see, I put all that aside. And so for the last week, I have just been able to sit and focus and work and just finally get into a good headspace again. And it's been a couple of months since I've really been in a good headspace. And so I want to thank everybody who's kind of persevered along with us on this, and especially to the small council, because when I first had my eye problem and they said, "Oh, you have a blood issue, and you could die," I was like, "Okay, well that kind of sucks to work on a game that's not going to get finished." And so anyway, I reached out to some people, said, hey, can you continue the game without me? And they said yes, and that made me feel better. And if that's all that was accomplished in that, it was worthwhile as far as I'm concerned, because it made me feel better and got me through the last 2 months. And now I'm back, here I am working on the game. And so there is still a problem with my blood that we hope will go away, but chances are very low that I'll drop dead. So I just worked really hard this week on the AI of the game. So basically, it's pretty lucky that you're out there in Portland there, Nick, and you're not local here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Why's that?
Because I've been kicking ass. Every ass that I see, I kick it. I kick it. So it's a good thing that nobody's close by, because you might get a kick in the ass as I come by. Yeah, so it's been a good week. And so a couple of episodes ago, I talked about how I was redoing the AI to be this task-based system. And I'm very happy to report that that is in and working in the most kind of smallish, infinitesimal way. But it is working. And I've said this before, but one of the great things about lots of code reuse and, I guess basically a systems approach and code reuse and all this stuff is when you go to make a change, then it affects everything. And the bad side of that is when you go to redo something, it breaks everything, and the game was like unplayable. So the game is playable, and I'm going to show you a little tiny bit of the game this week with some of the new AI stuff. It's not a lot of the new AI stuff because I'm not done with it. But the point is, the game hasn't worked for like a month, and now it does work with the new AI task system. And as I've been working with it, I'm like, this is totally the right system. I finally got it. Sometimes the fifth time's the charm, Nick.
That's right.
That's how game dev goes. 5th, 7th, 19th time is the charm. And so this is the right foundation to move forward on. It is 7 a.m. and I've created a bunch of tasks for people. Well, actually, I haven't created any tasks for people. They're kind of automated tasks. And what I figured out was that when people wake up in the morning, like you and I, when we wake up in the morning, it's like, hey, what am I going to do today? Well, it kind of matters if it's a work day or not. And you wake up and it's a work day, then you're going to give yourself a task, which is, I got to go to work. And so that's what happens now in the game. You'll know because you worked on it before that we had this very strict system where it's like we said, okay, you do this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do this, and then and then you're like free. And there was no way to put anything kind of in between or to interrupt it. And now we can. And so what happens now is I don't know what time they're going to wake up. Some people wake up at 5 a.m. Some people wake up at 9 a.m. And then they look at, hey, today a work day? Yes, it is. And then they're like, oh, well, I better go off to work. And then they will go to work. But if their work isn't for a while, then they'll say, oh, I got a couple hours free. I could do something in that. And so with the new AI task system and the way that it queues all the tasks that they're going to do, I can inject a task ahead of everything else. So let's say there was a Starbucks that you could go to. You're like, hey, I got a couple hours before I go to working in the fields. I'll go to Starbucks and hang out there for an hour, and then I'll go out in the fields. All that has been built and works, and I'm really happy with it.
Nice. So the inn is the Starbucks of this world.
Yeah, sort of. So everybody just goes there and drinks beer before they go to work because that helps you work.
That's responsible.
Yeah. So anyway, so this is really... So I talk a big game, and then when you actually see the game, not a whole lot is actually that you can see. But if I move time forward, it's 8 a.m., now it's 9 a.m., you'll see these things lit up. And the reason they lit up is because the people actually went to work. And you'll see the inn is currently closed because it's closed the first day of the week, which is what it happens to be. So the big thing here is it's now using the new AI task system to do all the same stuff that it used to do before. and so that's the big win so far. And for those that are following along on Build 11, they're like, hey, when the heck am I going to get this thing? There are 3 big tasks that I had to do on Build 11. The first one I did. The second one is this AI thing, which is now sort of working. It still requires some more work, but I'm very close to closing it off. And then there's one more big thing after that, and then I can push out Build 11. So it's good progress that way. Okay, so I'm not going to talk anymore about that part of the AI, but I'm going to zoom in on one very specific part of the AI, and that is here. We're going to go to the weaponsmith.
Job system.
So the thing I think is really cool about Archmage Rises and a role-playing game being set inside of a world simulator is the amount of data that I have in order to create what I think is a compelling role-playing world. And here is a little example of how I have all this real data of what is going on, and I can make the characters more realistic or more responsive to the player than what you would typically see in another game. So here it says that, I don't even know how to pronounce her name, Ernberga. Oh, by the way, I've also put in some new portraits. You probably don't recognize this because this is... I've been working on a whole bunch of different things, and so I started working on new portraits, but then some of them weren't working, and Roger's kind of being a jerk by not working on the game. He's busy working on another project right now, which pays him a lot more money, and so I can't get any work out of him. But anyway, it's got some of the new portraits in, and so when we get Build 11 out, you'll see those new portraits. But anyway, so when we go in here, it says that she is busy doing something, and that something that she's doing is she's crafting a short sword. She's actually crafting a short sword. So I know from the AI tasks that she started a new build of something. She's a weaponsmith, so she started building something. And what is that thing? She's crafting a short sword. So when I walk in here, I can look at that and say, hey, she's actually in the middle of making a short sword, and I can put that into the text so you can see that.
Yeah, that is rad.
And in a couple of days, that short sword will be available for sale in the store. Like, it's all real. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it is. I was thinking, because she said, I just finished it, I would assume I would see a bastard sword, but...
Yes. So because I just started the world and like a whole bunch of things happened upon world generation, and she says, I just finished a bastard sword today, which came out lovely. That is also true. She really did make a sword, and it got finished today, and then she started working on the short sword. And so,
that is cool.
So what I think is cool about this is that she's not only telling you like, hey, I just finished something, there's like a new item here. So when you walk into a store, they'll actually tell you the new item that they worked on, and they'll give you their opinion of it. Like if they made a good one or a bad one, they'll tell you what they think of that particular thing. And so here is a small example of the NPC is actually kind of pushing product on you, which is actually what they would do. And it's all real. I'm not faking any of it. And so I think that's really neat.
Yeah. I mean, that's the coolest thing about it, because, if we have all this data floating around in the game, and there's a ton of data, if you can't see it, there it is.
There it is.
She's really fond of those bastard swords.
Yep. So she made 5 of them. She's just telling you about it, and so I could go and I can buy it, and there it is. Okay, so that's one level of what all this data allows us to do to really make these NPCs look cool. And then the second thing I'll show you is related to the inn. I got to move time forward a bunch. There we go. The inn's now open. Okay, so this is something that you and I, Nick, have talked about before, that it would be great to have the inn have the food and drinks and stuff that are available are localized. Like they're coming from the geography, or they're coming from what's actually available, as opposed to just, manufacturing up, oh, here, yeah, they sell venison steaks here, but there's actually no deer anywhere around here because they're in a desert or something like that.
Right.
Okay, so I managed today to spend a little bit of time. It took me about an hour and a half or so using the new AI task system to go and implement that. And so I was really happy that the system was there, that I was able to use it. And I was also happy that I was able to use it for something I've always wanted to use it for. And so there's a bunch of stuff going on in the background. Again, I don't know how well this will show, but I will explain what's happening. So the innkeeper, at a regular interval, which right now is every month, he goes, okay, let's take stock of where things are with my inn. What can I get access to? And he will look at, what do I have in stock in terms of what ales or spirits or wines do I have? What does the merchant have in stock? And then he will build a menu around those things. So he'll actually buy things, and if he can buy them, he'll put them on the menu. And if he can't source it anymore, he takes it off the menu. And then if he wants to have an ale on the menu, he can't get an ale anywhere, then that'll create demand for an ale.
That's awesome.
That will then go out, and a trader will try and source some ale. So every inn tries to have wine, ale, and spirits and stuff. They may or may not have them. And so when you have these shortages because goblins are interrupting the highway or something like that, you will see when you go to an inn, hey, they don't have ale anymore. Like, I can't even have a drink. And not only that, that I've been working on this AI brain that remembers like all kinds of stuff that we can then query. So that can create your quests of like, man, I'm trying to run this in and I just can't buy any ale anywhere. Can you go buy me some ale? I can go and look back in his history in the brain and say, hey, what are some of the problems you have? And he's like, well, I can't buy ale. And then he could tell the player that, and the player can go in and solve that problem.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so let's go into the inn. And so what I did upon world generation, oh, look, we have a kid running the inn. Isn't that great? So
he's an entrepreneur.
Yeah, there's still some problems with syncing up the age to the portrait right now. So when upon world generation, all I did was I didn't set what the menu should be, which is what I had previously done. What I did was I just put some golden ale in stock in the inn, and then the rest of it is AI driven. And so if I go here to see the drink menu, we'll see golden ale is available. And I know it's not thrilling to look at, but all the stuff that led to golden ale be available for sale is all real. He saw it in his inventory, he put it onto the menu, and it's now available. And as soon as he runs out of it, then it'll drop off the menu and stuff. So I think about something that we promised even at like Gen Con and stuff was like, hey, the player can craft his own beer or wine or something using his vineyard and then sell it to the inns and then see that people are like actually drinking. It's like it's actually on the menu. That all works now. It's all possible.
Yeah, so in theory that would mean that you could go down, if you were to, let's say, golden ale, I'm assuming is being made from wheat, right?
I forget what actually goes into it because there's a bunch of different ales.
Okay. But yeah, so if you can basically if you affect the economy, then you'll directly be affecting this, and that would be true, I'm guessing, with the Smith too, right?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, the fact that the Smith was making that short sword was only because she was able to source metal after she finished her previous job of making those bastard swords. So she finished the bastard swords. She was like, okay, I'm starting a new task. Let's go look for some metal. Hey, look, the merchant has some metal. Buys the metal, brings it back, puts it in the shop, and then starts the job of working on that short sword. And actually consumes the metal as soon as she starts working on it. It used to be where the consumption was when they finished. But I've moved all that to the beginning now. And so when they start the task, then it consumes the stuff. So if your question was getting at, hey, if this gold nail is made from wheat and I was able to cut off the wheat supply, would that suddenly shut down people from having gold nail? Right. The answer is yes, it would.
Nice.
Yeah, it's all real and it all works and it flows. So the AI task system I started working on because of how I wanted the traders to work, and I still haven't done that aspect of it yet. So that's still kind of a big open part that I need to work on. But getting it up to this point working gives me great confidence in getting it to work for the traders. So hopefully by next update, we should have that working.
Awesome. Looks great.
Okay. Well, that's all I have for this week. Holy cow. I so didn't make a 7-minute video. But, hopefully it shows that progress is happening and things are good. It's coming along. Archmage Rise is still real, still coming.
I believe it.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.